I was working alone in a conference room, reading a manual and typing notes for a project. I had on U-shaped headphones with wires that held earbuds. It was flexible so it could be pulled out to the side but would snap right back into position around the neck, hanging down over the clavicles. While I was typing, I felt something going up the left side of my chest and over my shoulder. I felt the area and realized that the headphone wasn't there. The left side was over my shoulder. I pulled in back over and it sprung back into the U shape. 5 minutes later, it happened again. There is no way that it could have moved on its own. I have no explanation for how it dragged itself over my shoulder. Any ideas?
8th grade freshman-ish age, me and my friend were playing drums in the basement. Some black blur flew at us. No idea what the hell it was. It was so odd that it stayed in my head, but at the same time it was so long ago it feels like a dream. I vividly remember flinching back from this black blur flying directly at us. And then when I was an adult living on my own, I got woken up a few times on different nights from whispering in my ear. Not noise, not neighbors making sounds, literal whispering in my ear. First time just the jarring nature of being woke me up was all I really noticed. The second time I definitely heard whispering into my ear. Extremely personal in my ear. I'm talking in my ear canal close. Slept with the TV on and lights on after that. It was middle of the night, I'd wake up to silence. But the whispering was obviously so loud to wake me up. No idea. I want to believe, but just one of those things I shrug off. I guess the basement thing was seeing something. But at this point, it could have just been a dream from such a long time ago that I'm misremembering as it being real. I love ghost stuff, but I never, ever, believe anyone when they say they've seen a ghost. Just eyes playing tricks on us. I'd have to see it to believe it. Just a few weeks ago, someone was telling me about a ghost black silhouette that moves in the hallway. They have seen in their house multiple times. In my head, it obviously must be cars passing by casting shadows.
When I was like 11 years old, we went to visit family in Southern California. I was taking a shower, and while I was washing my shampoo out of my hair, I had my eyes closed. All of a sudden, I heard a very deep voice saying something above me in a language that I didn't recognize. I thought maybe it was someone just messing with me. I screamed because my eyes were closed and I couldn't see. I jumped out and got tangled in the shower curtain. I got a towel and ran out. There wasn't even a window in that bathroom, so it wasn't a family member or neighbor. I realized the door was locked from the inside too. I still can't close my eyes while showering to this day. It traumatized TF out of me. I believe that house was haunted. Another time 2 years later, we were visiting at that same house for my cousin's wedding. I was 14 years old. The whole family was sitting in the living room talking and hanging out. There were at least 10 or more people in the general area at that moment. All of a sudden, my uncle stares at the coffee table, and we all stop talking and look where he is looking. There was a Coke can dragging slowly across the table. We all stay there staring at it for what felt like forever, but was probably only a few seconds. He says, "F this," and grabs it off the table. We all stare at each other, shocked. My family still lives there. Every year my parents visit, my mom gets sick. One year I overheard my uncle, it's his house, telling my dad and mom a story. I can't remember if he said it was a dream or a sleep paralysis situation, but anyway, he said he was very sick and was in his room trying to rest. All of a sudden, he hears the doorknob rattling and someone trying to get in. He gets up and asks who it is. He hears someone on the other end say, "Hey, it's me, let me in." He said he definitely didn't recognize the voice and said, "Who are you?" So it says, "It's me, you know me, let me in." Again and again, getting more and more fucked up in a demonic voice.
My husband's grandma passed away years ago when my son was about a year old. Soon after she passed, my son would start shouting in his room at night. He would point to the corner of the room and say, "Nini mama." We would hear him say no, Nini mama, and occasionally have baby babble conversations. This went on for months. Very quickly, we connected the dots that this was my husband's grandma because my son calls my mother-in-law Nini. However, he had never met her since she lived with dementia states away. One day, I decided to prove if it was her or not. So I pulled her photo from Facebook and put her in a photo lineup with other random old women. He was able to recognize her instantly. She hung around for a bit, but finally left once her husband died a little while later.
I studied music for my undergraduate degree, and during that time, I already believed in ghosts, but never have seen real proof with my own eyes. For context, Our college is said to be haunted with ghostly singing and piano playing at night. Many security personnel swear to be hearing these things often at night. A professor recently passed away, and the very night of their passing, the roving security personnel saw a man standing in the doorway of the room where the professor usually taught. This was beyond the closing time and the lights were all turned off already. Okay, back to my experience. Secondhand. I saw the first evidence of ghosts that I could really say was legitimate. My friends were hanging out in the organ room, the big piped instrument that's so cool. They decided to take a photo of it using their phones. Everyone was standing opposite of the organ, and no one was beside it. Behold, the photo shows the organ in its full glory with hand resting on the keys. Like literally just a hand. It was pale and kind of faded, but definitely recognizable as a human, or once human hand. I was not able to get a copy of the photo, but I swear, it was creepy F.
When I was 16, I fell asleep on the couch with the TV on. In the middle of the night, I heard the door to my left, the one leading to my little sister's room, slowly open. She was a toddler, still sleeping in a crib. I got up to check if she was awake, but no one was there. As I stood there, the sliding door across the room on the other side of the living room began to open slowly. I walked over to investigate, and as I was turning away, my sister's door suddenly slammed shut. I stood frozen, surrounded by darkness, with only the glow of the TV lighting the room. Then there was loud banging from the kitchen, followed by the sound of footsteps rushing toward me. Terrified, I bolted out of the house and spent the night in my car. When I told my dad about it in the morning, he brushed it off, as dads often do. I think something follows my dad. I've only ever had experiences around him. I've had lots of experiences, but this one lasted the longest.